Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
Occasionally the answer really is right in front of us. Or rather, part of the answer is. That's what we learned on Tuesday's General Hospital as Curtis flashed back to the night of Drew's firing when he asked Selena Wu to take the Quartermain's most abominated family member out. It turns out Curtis paid Selena a cool $500,000 to make sure Drew Cain failed that night. And now it all lines up. While questioning Curtis, Nathan noted that Drew's firing didn't feel like a crime of passion but further a professional mega-hit. That would be a sticking point if nearly any of the suspects shot Drew, because everyone was veritably passionate about abhorring him, and hey, we get it. In the real world, resorting to taking out a mega-hit is, it goes without saying, despicable and violent. But in Port Charles? It's no surprise that Curtis was angry enough at Drew to want to take him out. The Solon picked his former friend in the reverse, blackmailed his woman. Tossed Aunt Stella under the machine. There's not a whole lot he hasn't done to make Curtis detest him. So yeah, what's taking out a mega hit or two? But now that we know, we're left with an entirely new problem. How in the world is General Hospital going to get Curtis out of this? Can the show get him out of it? In a city where gangsters run around with immunity, we're sure the show can figure Commodity out. Because if not, there's no way this is ending without Curtis heading to jail, or worse. He's mixed up with the mob now, and if Selena decides that he needs to be taken out to keep her out of hot water, Curtis' life could be over. But that's a problem for another day, we suppose. At least now we know who was behind Drew's firing Selena and Curtis. The morning in Port Charles began like a whisper, a fragile breath that trembled over the docks and drifted through the alleys, slipping into every familiar corner of the city. A new day, but not a peaceful one. A day that felt like a sermon waiting to be spoken, a baptism waiting to begin, a truth waiting to be dragged into the light whether anyone was prepared for it or not. Drew Cain woke up in the hospital with a heaviness pressing against his chest, a weight that came from more than the physical pain of the bullet that had torn through him. This was spiritual pain, soul-deep agony, an ache that seemed to echo with questions he didn't yet know how to ask. People stood around him offering encouraging words, soft, soothing murmurs meant to ease the fear crawling through him. "You're strong, Drew. You're going to get through this," Carly had whispered at his bedside. "You survived worse, and you'll survive this too." Her voice trembled despite her attempts to hide her worry, but Drew wasn't paying attention to her tone. He was listening for something else. He didn't know what, but he knew in his gut, that something about this shooting didn't add up. He remembered darkness. Footsteps. A faint scent, something floral, something familiar. He remembered a voice, not its words, not its clarity, but its emotional register. Hesitation. Pain. Confusion. He wasn't shot by an assassin. He wasn't shot by an enemy. He was shot by someone who didn't want to pull that trigger. That memory clung to him like smoke. And now that he was conscious, now that he was breathing on his own, everyone seemed nervous around him, too nervous. Too guarded. That's when the baptism began, not with water, not with prayers, but with truth peeling itself open like a wound. Finn came into the room first, medical chart in hand, but guilt in his eyes. "Drew, we need to go over something," he said cautiously. His voice cracked like a pastor about to deliver a sermon no one wanted to hear. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, even if it shattered every bond in the room. Drew frowned but nodded. "Go on," he said, his voice rough. "Who shot me?" Finn hesitated. He looked back toward the hallway. He looked at the floor. He looked anywhere but at Drew. And that was when Drew knew this was not going to be a normal conversation. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. "Tell me," Drew demanded. But Finn didn't say it. He couldn't. The burden was too heavy. The confession was too explosive. Instead, Willow walked into the room. Her hands were shaking. Her face had lost all color. Her eyes brimmed with a mixture of sorrow and dread. She looked like someone standing at the edge of a river about to be baptized in fire instead of water. And Drew's heart began to beat faster, his breath caught in his throat, because suddenly the scent he remembered, the floral hint, the soft trace of something he had once associated with peace, returned to him with violent clarity. Willow. 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 The revelation struck him before she even opened her mouth. His world cracked. The encouraging words people had been offering him began to feel like lies cloaked in kind intentions. The soothing whispers felt like disguises meant to shield the person who was now standing before him, trembling like she was about to face Judgment Day. Willow swallowed hard. "Drew, there's something you need to know," she said softly. "Tell me you didn't," Drew whispered, not pleading, not angry yet, but frozen in horror. "Tell me you didn't pull that trigger." Willow closed her eyes, and the room collapsed around him. Her silence was an answer. His soul felt split in two. It was as if every supportive word he'd heard during the last 48 hours had transformed instantly into a betrayal. Encouraging words were suddenly meaningless. Comfort was suddenly poison. The air in the hospital room thickened like smoke rising from a fire that had been burning long before anyone noticed the flames. "You shot me," Drew breathed, disbelief coating every syllable like dust. "You?" Willow took a step forward, only for Drew to recoil. "Stay where you are," he warned, voice trembling with shock. "Don't come closer." Tears streamed down her face. "It was an accident. I swear. I didn't." "Accident? An accident?" Drew roared, the anger finally breaking free like thunder rolling across the sky. "You almost killed me, Willow. You aimed a gun at me." "No," she cried. "I didn't mean to." Carly rushed into the room next, followed by Michael, both of them panicked, knowing this confrontation was inevitable, knowing that the emotional flood was about to drown them all. It felt like a revival meeting where everyone was praying for mercy, yet judgment was already pouring down. Michael tried to speak first. "Drew, listen." But Drew cut him off with a furious glare that could burn through stone. "You knew?" he snarled. "Did you know your wife was the one who shot me?" Michael didn't respond. And his silence was another betrayal. Drew felt the room spin. Encouraging words, gone. Trust, gone. Peace, gone. This was baptism by fire. "You covered for her," Drew said slowly, voice trembling with rage. "All of you, every single one of you let me lie here thinking some enemy came after me." Carly stepped forward, hands trembling. "Drew, please." Willow was terrified, she didn't know you were the one who. "Don't defend her," Drew shouted, pointing at Willow like a prophet condemning sin from the pulpit. "She shot me. What if I died? What if Scout lost her father? What if everything I've fought for ended because she panicked?" Willow broke into sobs. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." But Drew wasn't listening. His heart was pounding, his chest burning. Betrayal wasn't new to him, but this level of betrayal, this depth of deception, felt like a knife turned inward. He stared at Willow, barely recognizing the gentle, soft-spoken woman he had once respected. "How did it happen?" Drew asked harshly. Tell me. Tell me why you were even holding a gun." Willow trembled. There was chaos, shouting. "I thought someone else was in danger. I thought you were the threat. I didn't see your face. I was scared. It all happened so fast." "You don't pick up a gun unless you're ready to deal with the consequences," Drew growled. "If I had died, Willow, how would you justify that to yourself? To Michael? To your children?" Michael stepped between them then, desperate. "Drew, she feels horrible. She's been breaking down since the moment it happened." "And you thought hiding it was the right choice?" Drew demanded, voice cracking. "You thought lying was the answer?" "You were unconscious," Michael argued. "We needed time to." "To what?" Drew exploded. "Craft the story? Sweep it under the rug? Pray I never remembered?" Michael lowered his head. Willow sobbed harder. Carly was frozen, torn between loyalty and horror. The atmosphere felt like a revival service gone wrong. Encouraging words brought no comfort, tears brought no healing. Every apology felt too late, too small, too stained with guilt. Drew's anger was righteous, overwhelming, scorching the room like fire on dry wood. "You don't get to apologize," Drew said coldly to Willow. "Not yet. Not now." Willow trembled, every part of her shaking under the weight of his fury, his grief, his heartbreak. "Drew," she whispered, voice barely audible. "I don't expect forgiveness. I want you to know I would never intentionally hurt you." I froze. I panicked. I misread the situation, and I wish I could take it back. But Drew shook his head slowly. "Intentions don't change outcomes. The bullet still hit me." Silence swallowed the room. The baptism continued. But this time, the water felt like fire. "Get out," Drew said quietly. Willow blinked. What? "Get out," he repeated, louder, the command echoing through the room with the weight of final judgment. "All of you. I want to be alone." Michael stepped forward as if he intended to argue, but Carly pulled him back. "Let's give him time," she whispered. Willow remained frozen, tears streaming, unable to move, unable to breathe. "Drew, please." He didn't look at her again. "Out." The single word cracked like lightning. Michael took Willow's hand and guided her out of the room. Carly hesitated one last time, her eyes pleading for a miracle to erase what had just happened. But there was no miracle coming. There was only truth, and truth had finally been unleashed. When the door closed behind them, Drew let out a shattered, ragged breath. He leaned back against his hospital pillows, eyes burning, heart pounding. He felt alone. He felt betrayed. He felt baptized in the harshest truth he had ever faced. And somewhere deep inside, a darker question began to rise. If the people he trusted most could hide something this monumental, what else were they willing to keep from him? The encouraging words from earlier felt like lies now. The angry threats he wanted to shout still burned inside him. The baptism had begun. And nothing in Port Charles would ever be the same. General Hospital spoilers and updates for Wednesday, December 3rd. Tease Curtis Ashford makes a concession, while Sonny Corinthos and Rick Lansing spend some fraternal time. Also, Lulu Spencer delivers some tough love, while Dante Falconeri makes an unreasonable demand. Nina and Ava's girlfriend time. Nina Reeves and Ava Jerome spend some gal time, as they drinks together. Nina reflections that this day could get any worse, as Ava says she wouldn't be too sure about that. Nina obviously has her son Willow Kane going through with her marriage to Drew Kane on her mind. Indeed, though Willow admitted marrying Drew was part of a strategy to be vindicated and get her children back, Nina still doesn't like it. So numerous effects could go wrong with the strategy, and it's delicate to prove one was framed, but what if the strategy works? What about Scout Quartermain, her stepdaughter? Will she leave her high and dry and take off with Wiley and Amelia Corinthos? Kevin and Laura talk about Dalton at their home. Laura and Kevin Collins continue to bandy the Henry Dalton problem, after Laura told him she set up his body in her box. Kevin tells her that's not just setting her up, that's a communication, as in a mob communication. He'll have no problem believing Jen Sidwell is behind the frame, and most probably the murder as well. Laura's likely kept him abreast of this, being the man who nearly killed Lucky Spencer in Somalia. As Laura continues to open up, she should tell him about involving Sonny and Jason Morgan to vanish the body. Curtis makes a confession out for drinks. Curtis makes a concession to Jordan Ashford about their time in the PCPD questioning room with Detective Nathan West. Curtis tells Jordan that he'd to lie to the police tonight during the time that the security cameras were shut off. Selena Wu was there. It's a good bet that Curtis wouldn't admit he paid Selena $1 million to put a hit out on Drew, but maybe the paper trail of the payment might work to explain the timing. Curtis might be suitable to recoup the time of the line if it coincides with the missing timeframe on the cameras. Although it most clearly wouldn't be traceable to Selena herself, Portia finds herself questioned. It's unclear who a shocked Portia Robinson is talking to when she exclaims, "You suppose I shot Drew?" It doesn't look like she's at work at General Hospital, so she may be away, obviously explaining herself to someone who'd know she'd have motive. She's not at the Port Charles Police Department either. It's possible she's answering to Trina Robinson. Trina was veritably worried when Curtis had to leave with Nathan to go to the PCPD, and realized that not only Portia had motives, so did her father, and also there's the part about not telling her son she's pregnant. If Trina's not defying her now, she surely will soon. Sunny and Rick's brotherly time. Sunny and Rick are having some fraternal time at Sunny's house. Sunny laughs as Rick takes a draught of a drink and says, "Be sure that lasts further than one day." Rick has been keen on making amends with his half-family after so numerous times of abomination and contest, and it looks like it's working well. Sunny and Rick are partial sisters through their late mama Adela Corinthos through her remarriage to Trevor Lansing. Rick seems to have had a life disclosure during the time when he was locked up in Alexis Davis's basement. He told Sunny he wanted to make peace because of their daughters, Christina Corinthos Davis and Molly Lansing Davis, but Rick does have a sharp side. Is it true? Dante's unreasonable demand and Lulu's tough love. On the veranda of Lulu's house, Dante stands by her side as he tells their son, Rocco Falconeri, he doesn't want him hanging around Gio Palmieri presently. This seems to be an unreasonable demand, since Gio had no indication that Rocco, along with Charlotte Cassadine and Danny Morgan, broke into Dalton's PCU lab on their own. Gio was busy helping Ned Quartermain get medical care for his heart attack, after he and Emma Scorpio Drake set up him outside Bobby's. Lulu will also deliver some tough love, but will it be to Rocco, Charlotte, or maybe Dante, for his harsh stage?